And hello YouTube, it's Saturday night, and yeah, I don't have any good plans. I'm just going out super late looking for love in all the wrong places. It's 11:45 p.m. Saturday, March 4th, 2023, and I'm trying to remember when I last shot video, and I'm drawing a blank. I think, do not stall out right now, car. It doesn't usually do it while I'm in motion like that, but it suddenly felt like it was getting ready to stall out. Okay, it's all coming back to me now. I shot video while I was on my way to Amazon to do a second half day shift this morning. And that went really well. Leadership, daytime leadership, same people I worked with yesterday. You know, I never did figure out who the AM is for outbound for that area. I did not see. I did not see or notice anybody in a red vest that was overseeing anything, which is kind of funny, but. Same two people, Chicago and then the other guy that I met yesterday, and I'm trying to remember. Oh man, I'm trying to remember his name. I'm drawing an absolute blank, but him and I click really well. So I got there, and I think I clocked in at like 11:58. It's kind of nice. One thing that happens when I can show up for a second half shift, either because I've picked up a second half shift, meaning from 12:30 until 5:30. When I can show up for for one of those, either day shift or night shift, or if I do the thing where I fall asleep and don't wake up until late at night, and I decide to go into work between midnight and midnight 30, because I've done that more than a couple of times. I can actually clock in before 12:30. Like, I think I can get away with clocking in. I think it's the same 5-minute rule applying. So I can clock in as early as 11:55. I think I clocked in at like 11:58. All right, I don't know why this twit is going 20 miles per hour in a 30. Are you turning? Are you parking? Are you lost? Get the fuck out of my way, dude. What are you doing? Thanks for making me miss the light, a-hole. You know, I'm generally not an impatient driver, but that guy just drove over half a block with his fucking right blinker on, doing like 20% of the speed limit. Times like that, I wish my car had phasers. I could just... No, I'm not feeling road rage. Not me. Anyway, went in. You know, it was kind of a almost borderline typical day in terms of you know what I did and stuff. Went to the second half stand up, and I just kind of saw Chicago and then the other AM, and I'm like surprise, I'm back. And there were a couple other people that recognized me. There are some people that were there that I know. Like, there's another forklift driver named Danny that occasionally, he's a full-time day shift person, but occasionally he comes over and picks up a night shift for VET. So he was there, and I had met some people the day before, so you know, it's kind of neat to actually work with him a second day in a row and have some of them recognize me. But Chicago was not at the stand-up. Now, when I walked in, there was nobody in the stand-up area. So I'm thinking, well, gosh, maybe this shift doesn't do second stand-up after lunch. So I went ahead and walked over to the I went ahead and walked up over to the south side. As generally speaking, I'm mostly working on the south side these days, doing, as I mentioned, I've kind of become the pallet receive guy. Like, I seem to have the most firm grasp of how to do what needs to be done with the new way we have to do it. And I've really taken charge. I've had numerous, well, one AM and actually 2 AMs and numerous, that would be Sean and Dustin, as well as numerous PAs thank me for really taking charge on it. Now, I have had a couple of drivers get a little annoying because, of course, I'm very proactively, when I'm working on the south side, dropping pallets into their zones, and sometimes they're just not ready to deal with it. And to be fair, I've been there. I've been the driver that's just like suddenly overwhelmed with all these pallets of pallet receive coming in when I wasn't expecting it and didn't really feel like I had a place to put it. And it just kind of is what it is, you know. I mean, I realize that's part of my job. And when I was simply loading in a corral and you know, dealt with it the best I could. Anyway, the most so when I went over, so I went over to the south side, didn't see anybody, and I'm thinking, well, maybe I'll just double back to the stand-up area. By the time we got back to the stand-up area, there were people there. Now, I figured I'd already clocked in, so I should be doing something constructive. So when as I walked back from the south side to the north side, I went ahead and did a little written inventory of the buffer area formerly known as NPC Line 2. And you know what? I'm picking somebody up, so I'll continue this later. It's going to be an interesting night, although I'm not sure how much of it I'm going to film.
No, it's not a good look, and some self-control. Deep down I know this never would end. But you can lay with me so it doesn't hurt. Oh,
won't you stay with me? 'Cause you're all I need.
This ain't love, it's clear to see.
I can't hit them notes.
But darling,
Stay with me. What's happening?
Oh, Jesus.
What?
Huh? Oh, no, my hip cracked.
Oh, good times. And my car is fucking stalled out again. I got it to my mechanic on... I dropped it off on Thursday morning, and then he ended up not going into work at all on Thursday.
Of course.
And which, you know, and I can't really complain, because, like, he had asked me to bring it by the Thursday before, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I'll bring it. And then I totally fuck off car. Ah, oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, I just didn't. I ended up passing the fuck out in the so-called girlfriends and didn't bring the car there. Whoops.
Yeah, it happens.
It does, and I was exhausted from working, and this thing dings all the fucking time. I'm about to look up a schematic for the thing and just disconnect its dinger. It sounds so violent. I'm gonna disconnect its dinger. Oh, I love this song. You ever heard this radio station before? It's 88.7 FM.
No, because I pay for Spotify Premium, so I just listen to whatever I want to.
I've never even installed Spotify. And I don't know. I worked in radio for a long time, so.
Yeah, I had my own radio station for...
Like broadcast radio station?
Yep. 2012 to 2000 and... No,
Like
2011 to 2014.
How?
Well, I had a local radio station.
But I mean, how?
Like at home,
like
my
low
hometown.
power FM?
It was only supposed
was it
to
a commercial
broadcast.
station?
It was
What
only
was it?
supposed to broadcast on the island, but
Okay.
we'd get people calling in from like, so like the Catalina is probably like it's like an hour.
Did
off
you
the
own
coast of
it, or
Oregon.
did you work?
Oh no,
for
it was just a local radio, like a non-profit, like local radio station.
So.
And we're only supposed to broadcast on the island, but people from like San Diego, Orange
Oh, I'm
County,
sure. I mean,
like,
if you're
all the way up
broadcasting
in,
from
like,
a
Washington would like get us. And
well, because you know how were you AM or FM?
FM.
Okay, so you know how FM works, right? Or do you?
No, I don't. It's
So-
KISL.
FM is line of sight,
Mm.
and there's no physical obstacles in the ocean.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever heard of like what pirate radio is? Like,
Yeah, it's
pirate
people
radio.
who want non-restricted radios,
Yeah.
like radio stations.
Yeah.
And they go to international waters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they'll get into international waters where they're not bound by the laws of the FCC or any other
country, yeah.
country's
Policy.
government,
Yeah.
and they'll broadcast from a ship. And they can broadcast it like pretty much whatever power they want to, because nobody has the authority.
To tell them otherwise.
I mean, they're literally pirates at sea.
Yeah.
Nobody has any authority to tell
That
them,
was
hey,
a movie, wasn't
you
it?
gotta, yeah, and it's
Yeah,
based
yeah,
on
yeah.
a true story. I think those guys were anchored outside of San Diego, if memory
I
serves.
went to a talk. Yes.
Pump up the volumes.
I went to the talk with the guy who did the pirate radio, who's based off of the movie.
Oh God, that's so
He
awesome.
came to the island with one of the guys from the Monkees. I forget who it was.
Mickey Dolenz,
No, it's
Peter Turk. I don't know all their names.
I don't know all the names either. One
Love the
of
Monkeys,
them.
and I think they're all dead
Yeah,
now.
he used to talk about his dad used to be an opera singer, an Italian opera singer.
Wild.
Yeah, so yeah, I knew his dad. So yeah,
So,
my
but-
music teacher, I think I talked to you about him last time we were hanging out. Hill of Beans, the
No.
Saint lend me $1 from Weeds. Okay. Anyway, so he's my music teacher, and for like extra credit or like extracurricular activities, he ran the radio station. So I was like, hey, like I'd love to have my own radio station, or like radio, hosting time.
That is like
Which
a
was-
dream for me.
It was Sundays from 12 to 2, and then sometimes if nobody else wanted to go on, it was 12 to 4.
Very short, but
Yeah, it was me and my friend Jordan. So we were called the JJ Conqueso Show. She was Jordan. Her nickname was Jordan Jabinski, but it was Jordan something else. I forget what it was. And people called me Conqueso in high school.
good times.
So, and then sometimes we'd have our friend Alex on, so that was JJ Conquesto E. Alex show. And then sometimes we'd have our friend Denise on, so it'd be JJ Conquesto E. Alex and Consuela. So,
That just makes me think of the various names I used on air and some of the
but I kept the Conquesto name
weird shows that I did.
when I went to college, and they let me be a part of. I was actually on the.
College radio.
Yeah, I was one of the board members for the radio station.
So this radio station that it's on
Mhm.
is operated out of a high school in Mesa. This is a Mesa high school radio station. And it's probably my favorite radio station, other than the news radio station I
Yeah.
listen to all the time. Like, this is my favorite station in town. Because there's no commercials, and it's just the most random music.
Oh, we had no commercials either. It was
It's,
just,
yeah, because I mean, they're in the, in the frequency range. 88.7 is a non-commercial band.
you can actually go online and still listen to some of my old radio shows
Oh,
from high
that's
school.
wild. I wish I had.
So I usually,
I wish I
the
had
website.
tapes of when I was in radio. Keep in mind, it's like ancient history now. Like, I started in 1986, and my last full-time radio gig was like beginning of 1991, and I did it briefly in 95. That was it. Like, I haven't been on the radio since
I
1995.
loved having a radio show. It was so much fun. Because, my co-host would just make fun of me the entire time. And we'd have, stupid but, interesting conversations. We were supposed to play music for one episode, but we ended up talking about the differences between cupcakes and muffins, and why muffins were cupcakes, but cupcakes were muffins.
Sounds deep.
So it was just
Funny.
stupid. And then we have, like, oh, like today we're gonna play like electronic swing, or we're gonna, have like a Fleetwood Mac episode today.
Oh my God, speaking of Fleetwood Mac, so I work. If I did a list of all, the problem with me and trying to do a broadcast resume is it was so long ago that like, okay, but what have you done recently? I drove a forklift for Amazon, but I think I hold the title of person fired from most radio stations in the state of Wyoming. Like, I'm pretty sure that I still hold the record. I've been fired from a radio station in almost every market in the state of Wyoming.
For what?
Oh, just all kinds of shit. One place because I refused to make coffee.
That's stupid.
I'm not a coffee drinker.
Make your own damn coffee.
That was what I said. I was hired to be the morning DJ, not to be your fucking maid and make coffee. Now, if I had that job to do over again, I would happily make the coffee, because God, that was a stupid thing to get fired from a really good gig for. I didn't think so. Apparently they did. They fired me over it.
Well, that's kind of on you.
But I mean, since when is making coffee for the office staff the morning radio personality's job?
That's yeah.
The guy that does the radio morning
like
show,
the secretary or somebody,
that's especially like it would have been different if I drank coffee. Because granted, I was the first one in the building. You know what I mean? Like, I was the one who opened up the station. I don't think we had a graveyard shift, so I think I fired the station up at like 5 a.m. So, okay, fair, I'm the first one in the building, but I don't drink coffee. So why the fuck am I out brewing coffee? And on that note, now granted, making coffee is not rocket science, but as somebody who doesn't drink coffee, I had never made coffee, and I had no idea how to make coffee, nor did I have any desire to learn. I guess that's not fully true, because I had worked for a restaurant and made coffee there.
Yeah.
But it was different. But again, like I'm like, yeah, I don't see where this is. I'm not making coffee because I'm not drinking coffee.
Yeah.
If your office staff wants fucking coffee, they can brew their own fucking coffee. I've got a radio show to run. Anyway, I was fired from other stations for much more legitimate reasons.
But that one, still gets.
I had one that fired me for talking live on the air when they had specifically told me not to talk live on the air. They wanted me to pre-record all my breaks, and I just didn't. I just sounded so bad and canned when I did it like that. I just had no. It just didn't. It's like what I did just didn't flow, and I didn't like it. And even though I knew how much time I had, and in theory could do it, if I couldn't hear that music underneath me and couldn't hear all the elements going together, now
make sense
later in later years I did pre-recorded shows and stuff and did them really well. But at that time, like I'd never really.
I think there's a difference between doing pre-recorded shows and pre-recording your,
And pre-recorded, well, there's one thing to do a
breaks.
pre-recorded show and pre-recorded, no, there's a very, very big difference. And this is just me pre-recording my breaks. And from what I was told, not by my boss, but from other people at the station, that he had a policy, that the program director had a policy of everybody doing that because he could not talk live on the air without getting nervous and flustered and fucking up, and he didn't believe that anybody else could.
Ew, what a dick.
Right? So,
well, if a high schooler could do it.
Right. So when I started, and mind you, I was super young. So I mean, I was just dropped out of high school at the time. So, I'm going to say I was like 18, I think. I was 18 at that station. It was KMOR in Scottsbluff, Nebraska. So technically, that's not a Wyoming station that I got fired from, but a Nebraska station. But over half their listening area was in Wyoming, so they're right on. Scottsbluff, Nebraska is like right on the state border of Wyoming and Nebraska on the Nebraska side. But anyway, yeah, So that was an interesting story because I was trying to do it though. It wasn't really explained to me that that's what it was going to be. I was told I was being hired to be the evening guy at a top 40 station. So I mean, when you think about the demographics of top 40 radio, the evening guy is the one that's basically interacting with like the young audience, the high school kids listening, and I'm like fresh out of high school. So I mean, this is where I want to be, right? And I'm thinking I'm really connecting with people that are like my age and ish, and I'm just, this is what I want to do. I'm actually paying pop station. The two stations I'd been at prior to that were both country stations. Well, and then I did this one that was like a light rock station, but I was doing a heavy metal show on it. That's difficult to explain, but that station fired me too. So at this point, I'm like 2 for 2 stations that I'd worked at firing me. And to be fair, like neither of those 2 stations really fired me. They just quit giving me hours. Like that.
That sucks.
Well, yeah, like because places that don't have the balls to fire you, but they just quit putting you on the schedule. Yeah, those 2 jobs were like that. So,
I've never had a job like that.
Oh God, I've had so many jobs like that.
I've never been fired from a job.
I'm the kind of guy people want to get rid of, whatever. But